Booktube, Sarah here, and welcome. Today I'm coming to you with a weekly reading vlog. This is the start of the vlog. Today is Saturday, December the 29th, and it's just before 9 o'clock at night. And it's been a busy day, so I'm finally getting a chance to sit down and talk to you guys. But I do have a book that I already finished today. I know, it was crazy when I was editing the vlog for last week, this morning, that I posted today. And I looked and went, oh my Lord, I finished 11 books last week. That is insane. I mean, the week before I finished 4. So I was under the assumption that yes, I was going to finish a bit more than that. That's typically how it goes for me, I've noticed. But wow, that was crazy. So I am very, very pleased with that. And yeah, so I don't think I'm going to hit those kind of stats again this week. I can almost guarantee it because the book that I'm starting with for the new year, like I'm finishing an ebook now, and then the book I have to read after that is the first one actually that I will be reading in 2019. It's one of my first 2019 books. It's a 600-page book, so I will talk more about that in the next few days once I get to that one. But in an effort to try and not make this vlog as long, the last one was just shy of 2 hours, and bless all of you for watching it, seriously. Let's jump right into it, shall we? So as usual, I like to start these off with my knitting. So to keep it on a bookish slant, I DNF'd a couple of knitting projects this week, and I started a few new knitting projects this week. So first of all, the two things that I DNF'd, or I decided to rip out and not continue on. One of them was the cowl. So I showed you guys that a couple weeks ago. It was the one that was in very fall colors, but it was like the cowl that you would pull over, and I liked it. It's cute, but I had no desire to work on it. A lot of people, it's funny, like amongst me and my knitting friends, we chat about whether we are a process knitter or a project knitter, meaning, or crafter or crocheter or whatever it is you are. Like, do you do it because you love doing it, or do you do it because you want the finished object? Because I know people who'll be like, oh, this has been such a slog to knit, but I really want the finished item. I am a little bit of both. Or like I was going to say, I have other friends who will knit tons and tons of things because they enjoy knitting and give it away to other people because, they won't wear the shawl or they won't wear all those hats or something like that. Whereas I fall right in between both, no joke. I knit because I enjoy the process of knitting, and I knit because I want the finished item. I jokingly refer, and people laugh, but they say, hey, each to their own. I am very much a selfish knitter. I don't knit for other people generally. I don't like the pressure of knitting for other people, especially if it's for like a holiday. And if you're doing things for people for the holidays or for birthdays, like you guys know, if you watch my last vlog, I had to get those mittens done for my mom. And, I didn't mind. I enjoyed knitting them for her. Don't get me wrong. And if she's asked me for a sweater, I've knit her a sweater before. If any of my family members or something asked me for something, I would happily make it. But I am not one who's going to sit down and hand make people stuff like everybody in the family a hat for Christmas. That's just not me. I knit for me because I have very limited free time, and it makes me happy. So I knit because I enjoy the process of knitting, but I also want that finished item. Does that make sense? So I realized that as much as I was going to enjoy knitting that item, I wasn't absolutely in love with the finished product. And for me, I need to have both in order to finish it. So that got ripped out, and the yarn is sitting back in the stash, and it will become something else later when it's ready to tell me what it wants to be. And then the other one was the shawl. I talked about this one again last week. I just showed it to you guys last week. And this was the mystery shawl that I was doing, where you get like a clue every week. And I had fallen way behind because I was, of course, finishing off the mittens and my Christmas socks and stuff. And I went ahead and I went on the message boards on Ravelry for the designer, and I looked up the spoilers. So I looked at what people had already knit on it, and I didn't love it. So again, the same thing. As much as I was enjoying knitting on it, I didn't love the finished product. So I decided to rip that one out too. Life's too short to do stuff that you're not absolutely 100% enamored with. You know what I mean? So I cast on 2 new things this week. Well, one thing I already had cast on, but I ripped it back out. I only had like this much on it, and I cast it back on again. It was from probably 2 years ago. So over here, over like that you can't see, there is I have a little mini coat rack that you'd hang in your bathroom for like towels and stuff. I have that hanging on the wall, and hanging from it I have knitting bags, and filled in those knitting bags are yarn and patterns that I've kind of put together. So earlier this week I went through it and I pulled something off that seemed, pretty straightforward, but would be an enjoyable enough knit, something that I wanted, of course. So I did cast that on, but I now have 2 sweaters on the needles because I couldn't say no to casting on a second sweater. So again, I'm yammering and I'm trying not to do that, but anyway. So I'll show you the first thing that you guys have probably seen before. This is a sweater in my adorable, absolutely adorable, very appropriate. It is a holiday bag. Yes, the tree is still up. You guys are going to see the tree this entire vlog. We take it down next Saturday. The Saturday after New Year's is when my tree comes down. So this is my, it's a holiday bag because it's got a Christmas tree on it and stuff like that. But I like to think it's an after the holidays bag because Santa and the reindeer are at a motel and they're having a little vacation. Is this not the most awesome fabric? Santa's suit. The reindeer, they're, where's the one? So they're swimming, they're suntanning, they're playing shuffleboard as deer should. Reindeer. I just think it's so cute. Anyway, this is a sweater and it is called the Comfort Fade Cardi, and it is by Andrea Mowry. Not a lot of progress got knit on this one over the last few weeks, so there is where I was the last time I showed you guys with my little reindeer stitch marker because it goes with the bag. And so that's about as much as I got done. I'm literally just knitting back and forth, or knitting and purling back and forth on this at this point. I'm just trying to grow the actual, it's a cardigan. It's going to have a big, wide neck. And yeah, I really like it. So this is a Knit Picks acrylic. They're Brava, Knit Picks Brava, which is some of my favorite acrylic yarn. And the colorway is called Seraphim. And I think it's really, really pretty. It's a beautiful gray purple. And I really, really like it. So I'm very much looking forward to getting that one done. So the other thing that I picked up off of my rack of projects, I have to go through that because I was looking through some of them and I'm like, I don't really want to knit this anymore. It's much like your taste in reading. You get a book and you're like, oh yeah, and then you don't get to it and you're like, oh, I don't know if I really still want to read this. And a knitting project is a bit more of an investment than a book. In some cases, it depends on the length of the book, or, if it's a book that you might struggle with. So living in this adorable yoga bag that I have, yoga is something that I need to get back into in 2019. I need to get healthy. I need to get really healthy in 2019. So I will share that journey with you guys as we go there when the new year starts. So yeah, so there's that. And this is actually, because it's in a yoga bag, these are yoga leg warmers. I found this pattern. It was a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's called the Om Yoga Leg Warmers. And essentially, they're socks without the toe and the heel. And they go up to mid-calf. And I had this yarn, and it was going to become socks, and I thought this would be great. Because one of the things I want to do, I'm going to be doing some yoga classes, online. There's a lot of great free stuff on YouTube and stuff like that I plan on participating in. And then when our finances get better, when my husband starts working again, hopefully sooner rather than later, I would like to join proper yoga classes again, because there is one thing about doing it at home and stuff like that, but it's entirely another thing to do classes, because the teacher can come around and really make sure that your form is correct and you're not hurting yourself or something like that. So I do know, because I used to take classes years ago, that excuse me, that at the end of class, when you're laying there and you're relaxed and you're calming down, and I don't do hot yoga classes. My heart can't, as a cardiac patient, we can't take a lot of heat. So they're just normal yoga classes, but you do cool down quite a bit. And a lot of the classes I've taken, people have said bring sweaters. So I sometimes wear shorts because it's just easier to move around in. And to have these nice long leg warmer type sock things to keep you warm at that part of the class is great. And of course, because you don't put heels or toes in them, your foot can still grip the mat without it being, you know, whatever. So there's not much to show on this. That's all I've gotten done. But the yarn is what makes this. The yarn, okay, so there's the colors, the grays and pinks, which is great. This is Fiber Nymph Dye Works. Her name is Lisa. She has the 90% Knitting podcast. And this yarn is a self-striping, which is great. So it's going to stripe the pinks and the grays. And the colorway, you probably won't be able to see it, but it's called Soft Kitty. So for those of you who are fans of the TV show The Big Bang Theory, you'll know this reference. It's the song that, Sheldon asks Penny to sing him all the time. And I just thought that was so adorable. So this is going to become my yoga socks. So I will work on those later this week. Because right now, all of my knitting, my want to knitting is going to this other sweater that I just cast on. So I will show it to you. I cast it on yesterday morning. And I got to about the point I'm at now. Then I realized looking at it that I was knitting the wrong size. So I had to rip the whole thing back out and I cast it all back on again. And I'm at this point now, but I have to show you the bag first before I show you the project. Because I talked about this in my last vlog, that this was my Christmas gift from my brother and sister-in-law. Actually, my sister-in-law made it after I had seen it at a festival. Somebody else had the same phrase on a bag, and I fell in love with it. And it says, "I learned to knit in prison." I'm sorry, that just makes me happy. It's so my humor. It really, really is so my humor. So, living in this bag, I have another sweater. And the sweater is called Lan Glen. Excuse me, hold on. And it is designed by Melissa Shishwari. I apologize. And it's a pullover. It's a very, I don't want to use the word simple pullover, but it's a pretty basic pullover. It's got a little bit more of a, not a scoop neck, but a boat neck. But what makes this sweater is the fact that sorry, I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, you guys won't see it there. Oh, what's happening? Is that it's got this. Sorry. Really? I don't want to see the pattern. You guys don't need to see the pattern. It's got this beautiful lace detailing up the arms. So yeah, so that's kind of, and it's a nice long, like, see how long this sweater goes? That's the beauty part about knitting. You know, there are some people looking at it going, I don't know if I knit it that long. You can always cut it off early, right? Like, you don't have to knit it as long. And then here you can see, like, the neck, like how the neck kind of goes. So yeah, so I'm really, really enjoying knitting on this right now. And, whoops. Here is what I got done. Kind of hard to see the sweater, isn't it, people? But yeah, so this would be like around the neck. And you just start the neck and then you would go back and pick up these stitches and put the collar itself on, like the ribbing of the collar. But I do have the, I don't want the stitch to fall off the needles. They're kind of all bunched on right now because I'm increasing for like the sleeves and stuff. But there's that cable pattern that's going to be in the sleeves. So it starts right from the beginning. And this is also Knit Picks acrylic. Again, this is some of my favorite acrylic yarn. And I do love knitting sweaters in acrylic because, you know, you don't have to worry about them shrinking or growing or anything at all like that. And the colorway, this colorway is called Cornflower. This is called Cornflower. But I think it's super, super pretty and it's going to make an awesome sweater. So yeah, so I've got a bunch of balls of this sitting over there so that I can work on this. Anyway, this is what's kind of taking my knitting enjoyment right now. And yeah, so that's all the knitting. Books. I finished a book today, you guys. Saturday, and I finished a book. First day of the vlog. I hadn't planned on finishing this one today. I got listening to it and I didn't realize that it was only about 7 hours long on audio, and I had started it, I was only 10 minutes into it yesterday, but I was listening to it this morning while I was editing the vlog and doing some knitting on that sweater, and then I got home, we were out for a good part of this afternoon. We went to my mom's house to visit my aunt, to visit with my aunt and my cousins and their kids were all over for like, we always do it after Christmas. We see them. And so we were over there, and then Garrett and I went grocery shopping, and we came home. So I just looked and realized I only have an hour left on it. I'm like, I might as well just finish it off. So the audiobook was The Keeper's Christmas in Salem. This was by Heather Graham, Deborah LeBlanc, Kathleen Pickering, and Beth Coyota, I believe. And there were different narrators depending on the stories. Now, typically what I do with anthologies, because this is an anthology of four shorter stories. The book's only, like I said, about 300 pages, and there's 4 short stories in here. But they're all interconnected, and typically what I do is I rate each one separately. But because I listen to them all essentially within the course of a single day, over about a 3.5 hour period, it was quick. And not that they blended one into each other, but I just found that at the end, I really enjoyed all of them, like pretty much equally. I'm giving the whole thing about 3.5 stars for the entire anthology. It is about, it's hard to kind of tell you guys what it's about because, like I said, it's like these 4 stories interconnected to each other. But the overall premise of this story is that it takes place in Salem, Massachusetts on Christmas Eve. And there are 4 cousins, which each story is about a different cousin. And they are keepers. And what keepers do, again, I'm not a big paranormal romance reader, but I did enjoy this one. The keepers essentially keep watch over these supernatural type beings, vampires, witches, the elements is one of them. And there's something that has happened in Salem, or happened quite some time before the story started, where essentially it's constantly dark there. It's like the sun has been blocked out, but it's only over Salem, Massachusetts. And they are trying to find out what's going on. So as each story goes through, you progress through the overarching story. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, 3.5 stars. The vampire story I liked, the witch story I liked. The one about like the elements and stuff like that I didn't like so much. Not that I didn't like it, but it's just, that's not my type of paranormal. If I do read paranormal romance, I don't mind the stuff about witches and witchcraft. The vampire stuff I don't mind either. But beyond that, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of the shape shifter type romances and things like that's just not my taste personally. But yeah, but they were still enjoyable, and I liked it. If you do enjoy paranormal romance and you want a fun Christmas story, something that's a little bit different, definitely check this one out. Again, it's on audio, and it's part of the Audible romance package, so that's always a bonus as well. So I finished that one, and then the other one that I'm not starting my next audiobook yet. I have one more audiobook, you guys. The audiobook that I'm going to be starting tomorrow, I have 2 days to finish it, which should be easy. It's like 9 hours long on audio, and my goal is obviously to finish it before midnight on the 31st, which should be no problem. I 2 or 3 hours a day, and over tomorrow and Monday, I should have no problem finishing that at all. And that's my final book for the month for the challenge. So my current ebook is called Watching You by Lisa Jewell. This is a NetGalley read, and oh my gosh, you guys, I am so enjoying this book. I can't put it down. I was doing a bit of reading just before I sat down here, and I thought, should I read a few more chapters and then I'll sit down and record? I'm like, no, I just must sit down and record my clip for today because I will just sit and just continue reading. I will definitely be finishing this one tomorrow. That is my goal. So I can't tell you much about the premise of this one because it is a thriller. And I talked about this one in my last vlog, but of course, just in case you didn't watch it, it all takes place in Bristol in the UK, and on this like one street in this one neighborhood. And there's all these people that are interconnected, and at the very beginning of the book, you find out someone has been murdered. And the detective or the constable or whomever it is at the murder scene. You don't know who it is. You don't even know if it's a male or a female who's been murdered. And then the story jumps back in time, and now it's leading up to the murder, and you are meeting all these characters. The only thing you kind of know for certain is that the main character, Josephine, is not the one who was murdered, because she's being interviewed by the police. And that interview, it's like a typed account, like as if you were in court and the transcriber was typing everything out. You get that in between so many chapters. You'll get this like breakdown of questions, and they're questioning her husband, so it's not her husband either, coworkers of hers and things like that. So obviously she's the one who's kind of being fingered, if you will, for the murder. But again, you don't know who it is, and you're meeting this whole cast of characters. You're meeting this headmaster at a local school who has a questionable background. You're meeting, Joey's brother and sister-in-law who are kind of harboring their own secrets. There's these two teenage girls in town or on the street, and a teenage boy who, again, secrets. And you're finding all these things out. And I just think what I'm really enjoying about it is that it so taps into the you really don't know your neighbors. And everybody, you look and it's a very nice area, like it's a very well-to-do area, but you don't know, really what goes on behind closed doors. And again, I don't want to say any more than that, although other than I'm really enjoying it. The chapters in this are really short. Like, if I was reading it as a print book, you're probably looking at 3 to 5 pages a chapter. So I like to consider it to be potato chip knitting, potato chip reading. And by that, I mean, if you have a bag of potato chips, you're like, oh, I'm just going to eat one more. I'm just going to eat one more. This book is the same. I'm just going to read another chapter. I'm just going to read another chapter. And then the next thing you know, last night, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I need to get to bed. So I'm trying to pace myself. My plan is to finish it tomorrow. I'm about 60% of the way through it right now. It's a little over 300-page book. But yeah, oh my gosh, you guys. I read another thriller earlier this year, and I really enjoyed that too. And I really think I need to delve into thrillers a bit more. So if there are any of you watching who are big thriller readers, who have anything that they could recommend to me that I can throw on my TBR for 2019, I would really love to hear it, because I am very interested in trying to get into a bit more of these, because I am thoroughly enjoying all the ones that I'm reading so far. So anyway, guys, that is it for today. Tomorrow is my typical Sunday. I'm going to go to bingo with my mom and then have a relaxing day after that. But I should definitely be able to come back and tell you guys tomorrow my final thoughts on that book. But I definitely think if it doesn't get a 5-star, unless something completely derails on the book, I probably am seeing it at least a 4-star. So we shall see. I will let you guys know tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then. Okay, bye guys. Hi guys, it is Sunday, December the 30th, and it is about 10:30 at night. This is a little bit later than I anticipated. I was actually hoping to record this a little bit earlier today, but Garrett and I were actually quite busy today, so I didn't get a chance to really sit down and finish reading my book until now. So I wanted to obviously wait till I was done that so I could give you guys an update. So update on today, I went to bingo with my mom this morning, and we won. I won more than I spent, which is always bonus. If you come out with a little bit of money on top of what you spent, that's always a good thing. One of my goals in 2019 actually is to cut down on the amount that I go to bingo. I like going, and it's gambling. Like, to be completely honest, that's exactly what it is. And I only spend what I can afford. I'm not going in there, with the thoughts of, oh my gosh, I have to win for blah, blah, blah. If I have the money, I go and I spend it, and that's fine. It's one of my, for lack of a better phrase, one of my hobbies. I enjoy going. It's a nice social outing for Mom and I. It doesn't cost a lot of money, but like I said, in 2019, I'm going to try and cut myself down because I want to use that money for other things. So going forward, it's going to probably be like every other week, every other Sunday. And I told my mom that today, and she totally understands. She's like, oh no, for sure. And she enjoys going too. It's obviously it's something that she's been doing for quite some time. But yeah, so we did win a little bit today, which was quite nice. So when I got home, my husband wanted to go out to a store, so we ended up going there. And then we went to Chapters Indigo, which is our Barnes & Noble here in Canada, if you want to call it that. And I just wanted to go and have a look around. As you guys know, physical books are something I generally don't buy or read as often. I'm an ebook and audiobook reader. But I wanted to go in and have a look because, of course, Boxing Day sales and things like that. And all their hardcover books were 30% off. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. So I had a couple books in my hands. And I was looking at them and I'm like, oh, it'd be so nice to own this in a hardcover. Like, don't get me wrong. I love physical books. I think they're lovely. I just don't, A, have the room for them, or B, I just don't find myself gravitating to pick them up. An ebook or an audiobook is just so much easier for me now. And I love that. So, I was looking at the cover price and I think it was like $24. And I thought, okay, 30% off. And you're still thinking like, it's going to be at least $15 or $16. And I went on my cell phone and I looked, and my library has it on audio. So if I really wanted to read it, I could just borrow it on audio and it wouldn't cost me anything. So, that's another factor when I'm picking up and buying books now, to look at, is this worth it to me? Is this, not that I'm going on a book buying ban, far from it. I did actually buy 16 books today. And I've bought a couple of ebooks and stuff like that recently, but I do try and get stuff on sale or stuff that's a little bit cheaper, and I'm trying to only purchase ebooks if I'm buying ebooks, or I don't like to buy audiobooks unless it's with my credits through Audible, or, if the ebook or audiobook is on sale. And I do buy my Harlequin print books because I love those. That's part of a collection as well as me reading them. So the books that I did buy today, because we came home and I was a little bit bummed, to go to a bookstore and not actually buy anything as a book person is a little sad. So when I got home, I went on Amazon and I played around on the Amazon marketplace, and I bought, like I said, 16 used Harlequin books. So those should be coming in the next few weeks. They do take longer because they don't come directly from Amazon. They are from the marketplace. So they're from a secondary seller. They're the one I usually buy from, and I'm quite pleased with the amount of selection that they have and the shipping cost, because, you do pay a bit more shipping here in Canada. So, I mean, the shipping was almost double the cost of the books, which sounds, oh my gosh, but each book rounded up to costing me about $1.50 to $2, so that's not too bad. So anyway, those will be coming later, and I think I'm actually in 2019, I'm gonna go back to doing book hauls, like a once a month book haul of stuff that I get in the mail and stuff like that. So it won't be a lot of books, but it'll be kind of fun to do like unboxings or book unboxings and stuff like that. So anyway, so that's that. So then I came home and we were relaxing and we had dinner, and then I was doing some knitting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta finish that book. So I sat down and I finished reading Watching You by Lisa Jewell. Oh my gosh, you guys, it was so good. As soon as I'm done recording this, I'm going to be popping on my laptop and I'm going to be giving my review on NetGalley, because it was a NetGalley read. Now, it is a thriller. I talked about it yesterday. I really don't have a lot more to say about this book because I do not want to give anything away. And, I really think thrillers are things you need to go into blind. So all I'm going to say is I really, really enjoyed it. I'm not hate it when people say there's a twist. Well, yeah, of course there's a twist. It's a thriller, and there really wasn't, but this was more of a whodunit, like a classic. I want to say almost like a classic whodunit, like an Agatha Christie kind of an idea, where, you've got all these cast of characters, and up until, like I said yesterday, the 70% point, I didn't even know who had been murdered. And you've got all these different stories, all these different perspectives, and, A, who's the victim, B, who's the murderer, so interesting. I'm giving it a 4-star, probably edging more towards a 4.5 star. I got thinking today about ratings, 5-star ratings on books, and what the thing that pushes it from a 4.5 to a 5-star book for me, and that's reread factor. If it's a book that I could absolutely see myself sitting down to reread, I will rate it 5 stars. This one, because, and I think that's part of the thing with thrillers as well, at least for me personally. I mean, you reread a book, you know how it ends, right? Like, you've read it once, you know how it ends. But with thrillers and psychological thrillers and things like that, or mysteries, part of the added enjoyment in those kind of books is finding out the whodunit. And if you know that going in, it loses some of the enjoyment. Maybe that's just my opinion, I don't know. A lot of you probably read a lot more thrillers and mysteries than I do, but that's just, for me personally, that's my own thought process on that. Whereas a contemporary romance, yes, you do know that the two main characters are going to get together, but you know that from page 1 because it's a romance novel. And 99.9% of the time, that's what happens. So it's not a surprise. whereas with a mystery thriller, it is. So anyway, so like I said, 4.5 stars on this one. Really enjoyed it. Again, if you are a thriller or mystery reader, definitely check it out. And the other book that I did a little bit of reading on today, not too much because like I said, I've been out and about for most of the day, and that is Sleighbells by Beth Albright, and this I'm listening to on audio. This is the story of a woman by the name of Dallas, and the story takes place in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the home of the Crimson Tide football team in the University of Alabama. I'm not a college football person, but they've mentioned it several times in the book already. And she is a news anchor woman. Or she kind of does fluff pieces, if you will, like charity stuff. And she realizes that she's been getting these pawned off on her a lot more lately. And her ex-boyfriend is back in town, and it's the holidays, so this is my last Christmas book. And so far, I'm only about 2 hours into this audiobook. I have about another 4 hours left on it. I'll finish that off tomorrow, no problem. And she's a rather unlikable character at the beginning. But I'm about 25% of the way through it, finding out the reasons why and what her childhood was like and growing up was like. So, not that I'm excusing bad behavior, but, some people have their reasons for acting the way that they act. So I will obviously let you guys know more about this story tomorrow. But anyway, tomorrow is New Year's Eve. Very exciting. Our big exciting plans are ordering Chinese food and sitting in. So I'm very much looking forward to that because we just, I mentioned in my last vlog, I was talking to one of my neighbors outside and she gave us a recommendation for a local Chinese food place that we're really excited about trying out. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to let you guys go and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye guys. Hi guys, it is Monday, December the 31st. And it is about 6 p.m. Thought I'd come to you a little bit early tonight and give you a quick update. I may pop back on to wish you all a Happy New Year when midnight officially hits, but for right now, we're going to do a quick little recording. So, my year end, I finished my last book of the year a little bit earlier today. I finished reading Sleighbells by Beth Albright. This is the third book in the Sassy Bells series. I listened to it on audio from the Audible romance package. It was a really cute story. It is labeled as a contemporary romance novel because there is a romance in there, but what I really enjoyed about this one is that the bulk of the story wasn't the relationship between Dallas and Cam, which is our two main characters. Dallas is a reporter for a news station in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Home of the Crimson Tide football team, I believe, the University of Alabama. And football is talked about a lot in this story. It takes place in the weeks leading up to Christmas, of course. And she has been tasked with becoming the new director for the local children's play. And she's not really a fan of kids. And as I said yesterday, she was a rather unlikable character at the beginning, but she really quickly grew on me. I really liked her. I guess she makes appearances in the first two books as kind of the arch enemy of the main character, Blake, female by the name of Blake. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun, but like I said, it deals mostly with Dallas's, the other issues going on in Dallas's life. The romance actually comes in second to the other things. She's got family drama going on. She hasn't spoken to her mother in 20 years, and she is vying for a spot as the new anchor because the current anchor, I guess on the evening news, is retiring, and everybody else in the station is kind of up for this, to become the new anchor person, and two people are actually going to be getting let go. So, and they find this out, of course, just right before Christmas, which is just keeping in time with the holidays. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was a really, really cute story, and I liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars, and I will probably go back and read the first two books and the fourth book in the series, because there is 4 in total. So that was the last book I finished for the year. I'm not going to try and squeeze anything else in. I ended the year at 298 books. I was joking around thinking to myself, I wonder if I could quickly fly through 2 Babysitter's Club books tonight just to take my total to 300. And I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to leave it where it is. And, I am extremely pleased with that. Last year, I finished at 192. So I well surpassed last year's total. And as I posted on Instagram, not only was it a great year for the quantity of books, But really, looking back, the quality of books that I read this year were really great too. Because I was kind of getting my stats ready and stuff like that. Tomorrow I'm going to be recording my my year in review video. And you guys will have seen it before you see this. But I was looking, I had a lot of 3.5, 4-star, 4.5-star books. So that's, to me, that's pretty good. You know, I did not have a lot of books that I really disliked, and I didn't DNF anything. I don't DNF, like, I know there was the one back in the fall, or no, just before Christmas, like just before December, the Witch of Willow Hall. I decided to put it down. Not that I'm DNFing it. I'm going to go back and read it again, or like read it, but it just wasn't the right time for me to be reading it. So it wasn't that I DNF'd it because I didn't like it. So yeah, so the other book that I'm, sorry, Garrett's been trying to clean some stuff out. He's coming across a few things, and he's got this kind of really dopey hat that he knit. What's that? It's his hipster hat, he's calling it. So anyway, my current book that I am reading, and because I did start another ebook today, that was my audiobook that I finished, is Fast Friends by Jill Mansell. This is a NetGalley read. This is actually a re-release. It was released back in 91, and they're re-releasing it. And I'm only 10% of the way through this. It's a 600-page book. And, you know, when this came out, I'm trying to think back then. Now, I didn't read the kind of novels I read now back then. Like in 91, I would have only been 11, 12. I was born in 79, so in 89 I turned 10. Yeah, I would have been 12. So obviously I wasn't reading those kind of books. But, you know, these big, thick books about, you know, female friendships and love and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm finding a lot of name dropping in a way with this story, like already just at 10% in, of certain clothing that they're wearing or places that they're going or things like that. It takes place in the UK in London. And, you know, I'm kind of like, okay, you know, but I think it's a product of the time that's kind of the type of novel that came out back then for women to, you know, like a woman's fiction kind of novel. The only thing that's really there's two things that are really bothering me in this. So the story itself is about three friends who met when they were in school together, and it sounds like it was a boarding school, and it's now been 15 years since they graduated, and they haven't spoken to each other. Our one main character, Camilla, excuse me, she is married, stay-at-home mom of 2 kids, and her husband is cheating on her. The second woman is, she owns a local bar in town called Vampire, which, you know, she's completely different lifestyle than Camilla. Her name is Lulu. And then there's Roz. And Roz is she is not a nice person. Let's just put it that way. She's on television. She's an actress. She's rather famous. And she has multiple lovers and things like that. She's sleeping with 3 different guys. Not all together at the same time. That'd be a completely different type of book. But she has these 3 guys that she's kind of stringing along, and one is married. And she knows full well that he's a married man. So that's where part of my issue is coming into this. Now, without giving too much away, but you find this out right at the beginning of the book, so I'm not really spoiling anything. She is actually sleeping with Camilla's husband. Now, she doesn't know it's her husband. She hasn't seen Camilla in 15 years, but quickly finds out that, yes, it is the same guy that Camilla is married to. So I have some issues with that. Not with the fact that she's sleeping with her former friend's husband, but that she's sleeping with anybody's husband. I'm, you know, whatever you do on your own time, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. But when you start messing around with other people's marriages, regardless if the person in the marriage is okay with it or not, that's not cool to me. You know, sorry, I have big issues with that. So, you know, essentially she's in a way condoning the cheating because she's the one, and it's a totally different thing if you were having a relationship with some guy or some woman, whatever, and you didn't know that the person was already in a relationship. That's of no fault of, if they lied to you and said, no, I'm completely single, and, you know, you're having a grand old time, you know, you can't be at fault for them lying to you or holding back information. But in this case, she knows, and that's a problem. My other problem is that, of course, as soon as Camilla found out, she left the husband. Great. And her kids. That goes on about the fact that she's a stay-at-home mom and things like that, but her kids have been mentioned once or twice, and we just found out what their names are. And I just found it very odd that as a mom, when she walked out with the husband, like walked out on the husband, why she wouldn't have taken the kids, or if it was kind of I have to get out of this house and leave, why she wouldn't come back for the kids at some point. It's been a week, and she's been staying with Lulu. So I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about this book already. I don't know if I'm really going to enjoy it too much, but we shall see as time goes on. Like I said, it's a 600-page book. I'm going to be reading this throughout the rest of the week. I guarantee it. Because it's going to take me a bit to get through. So, yeah. But anyway, that is all I have for today. Like I said, I might pop back on again a little bit later to wish you guys all a happy new year. And until then, I'll talk to you. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. Happy New Year. Talk to you later. Hi, guys. Happy New Year. Today is Tuesday, January the 1st, 2019, and it's about 9:45 at night. Thought I'd sit down and do my quick little update for you guys for today. It has been a relatively quiet day here. I stayed up last night till about 12:30, 1:45, I guess it was. I stayed up to, ring in the new year, and I was chatting with my friends. We were doing a live video chat, all talking and stuff like that, and about 12:30, all of us were like, yeah, we're done. We're getting a little old to be staying up this late. But anyway, we got our Chinese food for dinner last night, which was fantastic. And yeah, and then I was up this morning about 7:30, and I've been tired all day. Over the last 10 days or so while I've been off of work for the holidays, I have been napping a little bit, except for the days that I had to actually go into the office last Thursday and Friday. But even those days, I think on the one day, on the Thursday, I came home and I had a little nap. And I've been, kind of crashing in on the couch for like a half an hour to an hour. But it just means that I'm up later at night, so I forced myself not to do that today, because I do have to go back to work tomorrow, back to reality. Luckily, it's only a 3-day work week, so that's not too bad. So it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then, of course, off for the weekend, and then we started all over again. But yeah, so like I said, quiet day. Garrett and I didn't do much. We got some adulting done around the house. I vacuumed, he did the laundry, we did the dishes, general cleaning and tidying, and we do the dishes every day, and vacuuming and stuff like that, but the laundry and stuff, those adulting things that need to get done. So so update on my reading for today. The first book that I got a bit of reading done in, I'm about 26% of the way through it, is Wicked Intentions by Elizabeth Hoyt. This is a historical romance Regency novel, and not sure what I'm thinking about it right now. I'm liking it, but it's not like, oh my gosh, I need to read this, like, you know what I mean? It's about a woman by the name of Temperance, who runs with her brother, whose name is Winter, a house for like wayward children, or orphans and stuff like that. And it's in a really, really bad neighborhood in London. And she has been approached by this man who is he's some high, I want to say he's a lord or something like that. And he has a very, very bad reputation. And he has approached her because he is looking for the person who murdered his mistress. He's not married, but it's, just this woman that he was having relations with, if you will. And because she knows the area, St. Giles is the neighborhood in London, because she knows it, because they live there, he's hired her to kind of like take him around, because he has no idea who murdered this woman. And, he is kind of looking to see if anybody has any information. He's essentially investigating on his own. And he is paying her, they have very limited funds to run this home. So he's paying her and for her troubles. And he's also agreed to introduce her to members of society, because they're looking for a new patron for this home for children. So that's, like I said, I'm about a quarter of the way through it right now. It's getting a little bit better. It was a little slow at the beginning. So we shall see, and I'll update you guys more on that one tomorrow. My current ebook that I'm still reading, that's going to take me at least the next few days, is Fast Friends by Jill Mansell. I talked about this one yesterday. I'm still having the same issues with it. I'm finding this book, my issue with this, and I realized it today while I was reading it, they're very self-absorbed. The characters, I don't care about them. I don't care about anything that they're going through. I'm sorry. I feel sorry for the Camilla whose husband cheated on her, but then she goes and does something very underhanded to somebody else, and it's almost, I want to say almost like Sex in the City, except the three women don't actually seem to be friends with each other at this point. But it's that very, it's all about who's who and what outfit you're wearing and whose shoes you're wearing and where you're dining and things like that. It's just very self-absorbed, very narcissistic. I'll be honest, I'm not enjoying it. So I don't see this getting a high star rating from me. I am at this point, I'm about 40% of the way through the book. So I'm slowly making my way through it. But it is a NetGalley, but the thing is, as much as I'm saying that, it's one of those where I just want to see what they're going to do next. It's like watching a train wreck. This is not a comment to anyone who enjoys watching these shows, but I'm assuming it's like watching something like the Kardashians. Like, they're just so full of themselves. You just need to see what kind of a mess they're going to get themselves into next, kind of an idea. And speaking of books I'm really not liking, the year's not getting off to a good start, you guys, because the other book, the Harlequin novel that I picked up already, I'm like 20, 30 pages into it. I'm not liking this. This guy, Ryan, we don't like him at all. No, we don't like him. The book starts off with her name is Beth. She is going to visit the man who has learned is her grandfather. And I guess the grandfather doesn't know that he's got a granddaughter or something like that. She's just kind of come out of the woodwork, kind of an idea. And Ryan has been is old friends with her grandfather. His grandfather and her grandfather were good friends, and since his grandpa passed away, he is now befriended the old man, and he's kind of taking care of him. So he's a little, weary. Oh, sorry, the camera's kind of coming in and out. I didn't realize that it's not focused, so I'll try not to move too much. Sorry, guys. And he's curious about her motives. He doesn't know why she wants to go and see this gentleman. I guess maybe he has money or something like that. So anyway, the book starts off with the fact that there's a huge, massive snowstorm and she gets her car stuck. It happens, like that's life. And I guess that the way she got stuck is that she's kind of blocking the road and nobody else can get by. And he comes up behind her and he pretty much calls her a witch with a capital B. Like, no joke, that's what's written in the book. That's what he calls her. They've spent the evening together because they found a cabin, of course, that they're staying in, to wait out the storm, essentially. And so from the time their cars broke down, and it was already nighttime, to the next morning, he's called her stupid. He's alluded to the fact that he thinks that she's an idiot. He's blaming her for them getting stuck. And of course, he's also questioning her motives to going to see the grandfather. So now, granted, this was written in 1979. Like, this came out the month and year I was born. But really? Sorry, again, it's because I had the book up. So, sorry, hold on. Okay, there we go. Now it should focus on me. But, like, you know how they have, like, these introduction pages in these books where you can, like, read a little clip, essentially, from the book? And in here already, as I was starting to read this, I kind of looked at this, and I was looking at it. One of the things is, you need a good spanking. You'd better be grateful I don't go around hitting women, but much more from you, and I'll teach you a lesson you'll never forget. That's like the big romantic. See, it's part of the reason that I am doing this 40 Years of Harlequin project, because, these are flawed. These are deeply flawed. I think in 1979, this would have been deeply flawed. I'd like to, I'm picturing kind of like, my mom didn't read these back then. My mom's never been a Harlequin person. My aunt was, my dad's sister. And I'm just imagining her reading this, and her being appalled by that, So I don't know. Like I said, the reason I'm doing this is just to see how much romance novels have changed, and it's an eye-opener. I'm not forgiving the fact that there are already so many flaws in this book, but you've got to kind of understand that it was written for the time, and I don't want to forgive it for that, but accept it for what it is, kind of an idea, right? I would never say to people, go out and read it now. You'll get some great, you know, uh, but I think this is going to be a fun project. I'm just really not necessarily enjoying this book in particular. Luckily, it's not very long, so I should fly through this. Well, my plan is one of these a week, so yeah, so that's about it. Anyway, guys, that is it for the clip for today. Like I said, I'm exhausted and I'm heading off to bed, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. It is Wednesday, January the 2nd, and it is 9:15 at night. So I thought I would sit down real quick and give you guys an update. Very quick little story I have to tell you, quite funny. Kind of making a little bit of fun of my husband. I love him dearly, really I do. So I'm watching one of Karen's vlogs, Karen from Rather Be Reading, and she was talking about doing her wash and being able to put it outside on the line to dry because it's summer. And Karen says to me, "How far behind are you on BookTube?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Well, this one's from the summer." I'm like, "No, sweetheart. In Australia, it's currently summer." Sorry. I mean, it's not like you couldn't tell from her accent. You know what I mean? So anyway, sorry, quick story. But anyway, I'm just kind of sitting here right now. I'm actually updating my blog. I am revamping the blog for 2019. That was one of my goals this year. I didn't talk about it, and I'm not really announcing it that it is a goal because I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. So I'm just kind of one of those, I am updating it. There are no book reviews up on it yet because I haven't finished any books yet this year. But I did put up my, like a little blog post for my January TBR, and there will also be a post that I'm working on now that is going to be my December wrap up. But of course I'm going to do a whole video on that too, so don't panic. I am still going to be doing those here. But what I was thinking is, I know that there's a lot of people who, BookTube isn't their thing, but they might be more content watching a vlog. So that's why I am, kind of putting these kind of things up on the vlog as well as book reviews. So anyway, that's that. I'm trying to keep these clips short because I don't want a horribly long vlog because last week's was bad. I had a few comments on the fact that it was, a longer vlog, and I do apologize. So anyway, work was good today. First day back. Well, I mean, it's not like I was gone for a while, but after the holidays and all that stuff, so yeah. So anyway, reading update for today. I'm about 65% through my audiobook, which is Wicked Intentions by Elizabeth Hoyt. This is the first book in the Maiden Lane series, so I talked about this one briefly yesterday. This murder that seems to be going around, it sounds very Jack the Ripper-esque, if you will. And, a part of me is kind of wondering if that's what it's going to kind of become. And then there's also this, they call him the Ghost of St. Giles, and he is this, like, vigilante, I want to say, who's going around, and if people get into trouble, he kind of swoops in and rescues them. So, like, a Regency Batman, if you will. So yeah, it's interesting. It's very, very adult, though. It's not an erotic novel by any means, but there is a lot, like since the beginning of the book, a lot of discussion on adult situations, and there is quite a bit of adult content. So, this isn't for everybody, but, I'm enjoying it a little bit more than I said I was yesterday, so I will definitely be getting it done tomorrow. That is my goal. My ebook is still Fast Friends by Jill Mansell. My same thoughts as yesterday. I don't see me rating this book very high. It's not a fantastic story, but much like a train wreck, I can't turn away. I just have to keep reading it to find out what's going to happen next. Like, these people talk about like everything you touch turning to gold. These are three very, normal everyday girls who knew each other in school, and all of a sudden, like, one is famous and the other one seems to be meeting famous people left, right, and center. And she starts her own business, and of course it becomes like an amazing success within 3 months, because yeah, of course it does. Like, just one of those kind of things. So this one, again, it's a longer book. I thought it was 600 pages. I think the edition that I was looking at on Goodreads, the paperback edition was 600 pages. I go by the Kindle edition, even for a NetGalley book, just because it's just the easiest. And it comes in at just under 500 pages, but that's still a pretty long book. So I'm hoping to get it done by Saturday. You know, I've set myself a page goal count every day. I don't want to, you know, force myself to kind of read it, kind of an idea. So yeah. And the other book that I'm currently reading, excuse me guys, I'm going to reach here. Say hi to Garrett. He's knitting.
Get out of my house.
This is live, guys. Not really live. This is unedited if you can't tell. He knows I was making fun of him. What season is it in Australia, dear?
It is summer.
There you go. He learned something today, so if it ever comes up on Jeopardy.
And I'm playing.
He'll know. So the third one that I'm reading is we'll say that 3 times fast, is Witchwood by Mary Wibberley. And this one's okay. Again, my same thoughts as yesterday. It's not gotten any better. They're still stuck in the cabin. I'm about 50 pages into this now. So yeah, he has called her the B word again. He has forcibly shoved her. You know, this would not hold up today at all for modern readers, I don't think. But, you know, that's kind of the point. It's not the point, but like I said yesterday, kind of the reason I'm doing this is to see how much romance novels have changed and such. So yeah. He kind of looks like a goober, doesn't he? Maybe he looks like that now because I don't like him. But anyway, so that is about it for today, you guys. I will totally let you go, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. It is Thursday, January the 3rd, and it is about 10:15 at night. Yes, I am coming to you from bed. I was laying down here and getting ready to read, and I'm like, oh, I have to record today's update because I finished 2 books today, so definitely needed to jump in and update you guys. So it was not a good day for me today at work. Very frustrating, very stressful. I had to walk away at one point and step outside, and my coworker called my manager and says, you might want to call and speak to Sarah because she just walked out. She said she's coming back, but she's a little upset. You know, just the usual stuff that we've been going through. So it is what it is. And sometimes you just need to walk away and clear your head and stuff like that. So anyway, on to the book update for today. So the first book I finished, of course, was the audiobook, and that was Wicked Intentions by Elizabeth Hoyt. I'm giving this one 3.5 stars. I didn't love it. It wasn't one of my favorite historical romances that I've read, and I do really enjoy historical regencies. This one was extremely dark. I mean, as I explained in the last couple days, it takes place in St. Giles, and, you know, I liked that the setting was a little outside the norm of most regencies, not being, you know, in Mayfair and stuff like that. But yeah, it was very, very dark. There was a lot going on. The mystery aspect of it was quite good. Our main character, Temperance, I liked her, but at some point she annoyed me a little bit with certain things. And Lazarus, I think that was his name, goes by Care, Lord Care. He was very, very dark for a male lead, and I'm typically not a fan of that in romance. And this book was also extremely adult. A lot of adult scenes, a lot of adult situations, a lot of stuff that was non-standard, if I can use that as terminology. Yeah, it was very, it was interesting. And like I said, you know, there was an interesting mystery to it, you know, where they're kind of investigating the murders of these women. And, you know, I didn't guess on who the murderer was, but this person who's like, as I mentioned yesterday, like the vigilante, the ghost of St. Giles, as he's called, you don't find out at the end who he is. And this is, I think, like a 12-book series. So I am going to continue on. I didn't dislike it. I mean, I enjoyed it. 3.5 stars is more than an average rating for me, but definitely not one of my favorites. In the historical regencies, I have a lot of others that I like a lot more. And the other book that I finished today was Fast Friends by Jill Mansell. This was a NetGalley read, and this was originally published in 1991. So I'm giving this one 3 stars. Last night, I kind of was in the mood, and I just kind of laid here in bed, and I read for like a good hour and a bit, and then I finished it off today at lunch. So I had planned on actually not finishing this one till Saturday, because I do set myself reading goals every day of how much I want to get read. But with this one, I was in the mood, and I'm just like, I just want to kind of finish it off because it was just under 500 pages, like as an ebook. So 3 stars is, again, it's an average rating for me. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. But this one was actually quite hard for me to rate because I was debating on, this book was, there was a lot of problems with this book in my opinion. For one thing, it's extremely dated. They are re-releasing this as an ebook, but yet it is extremely dated. So I thought that they would have updated it or something like that. You know, they reference a lot of musicians and sports people and events that were happening in the early 90s. And I don't see a woman, you know, who may have only been born at that time enjoying this. Do you know what I mean? I thought that they might have updated it. The other major issue that I had with this book is I didn't like any of the characters. All of them I found narcissistic, and I didn't care about them. And I really have to care about a character for me to connect with them and to enjoy the book. And like in this book, I mean, this runs the gamut. It spans years and years. And, you know, some of these women lose a child. Like one of these women lose a child. Another one, you know, her spouse passes away. And I just, you know, these are horrible situations and I didn't care. You know, it's like they were so full of themselves and so all about me and so just, oh, it was a train wreck. And the reason I didn't DNF it and the reason I am giving it 3 stars is because, as much as I say that, it was highly entertaining. You know, it was, I think I said this the other day, it's like watching a reality show. You know these people are just ludicrous, and why are you putting yourself out there, and why are you doing this? But yet, you can't turn away. You know what I mean? It was a decent enough book. Do I recommend that you run out and read it? No, not particularly, unless that's your kind of thing, unless this sounds like it would be something that you would enjoy. You know, I didn't like the character. That was my main thing, and that's a big thing for me. I am not, you know, necessarily a critical reader, you know, grammatically and things like that. That's not anything, unless it's blatantly obvious, that I tend to notice. I really am someone who has to enjoy the plot and has to enjoy the characters. And there was so much going on in this book too. Oh my gosh, you guys. They jump from character to character, and throughout the course of the story you get introduced to new characters. It was hard at some points to keep track of who is who and who was married to who and who's sleeping with who and who's, you know, whatever. I just, yeah, didn't love it. Didn't like the characters. But at the end of the day, it was an entertaining read, and that's really all I'm really looking for in a book, in a way. But yeah, this is definitely, obviously, not one I would ever reread, or, you know, or necessarily recommend, unless it's something that sounds good to you. So anyway, guys, that is it for me today. I am going to head off to bed because I'm exhausted, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, because tomorrow's Friday. Yay! Talk to you then. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. It is Friday. Yay! It's January the 4th, and it is about 9:45 at night. I was just sitting here watching some BookTube, and I realized I was getting tired, and I thought, I gotta get to bed, but I had to talk to you guys first. So, yay, Friday. I'm so happy. It's been a long week. I am tired. You know, this working for a living thing is really difficult. Why can't I just win the lottery? I did buy a lottery ticket for tonight, so fingers crossed. So anyway, yeah. I've been tired over the last few days. I've got a headache today, too. You know, I think it's getting back into the groove, and next week's going to be really hard because it's going to be a full week of work, a whole 5 days that I have to work, and next week will be interesting. Next week I'll be tired, I'm sure. But anyway, like I said, I thought I would sit down here and chat with you guys about some books because I started 2 new books today, and one of them I didn't get very much reading in. The other one I got a little bit more. So my audiobook currently is Flirting with Disaster by Victoria Dahl. This is, I think, the 2nd book in the Jackson Girls Night Out series. And this one, when you look at the cover, you think it's going to be, oh yeah, this very spicy contemporary romance novel. And I haven't hit anything too spicy yet. I still I'm maybe only about 30% of the way through it. But it's actually reading a bit more like a romantic suspense in a way. Because, okay, so the plot of the story, very quickly, is about our main character named Isabel. I think it's Isabel, sorry. I know that's horrible. I was just listening to it an hour or so ago. Isabel, and Tom is our male lead. And she lives in this cabin kind of in the woods in outside of Jackson, Wyoming. And it's very secluded, and there's only a few cabins on this road. It's hers, another woman's, and then this, I think he's a senator or a judge. Again, guys, I'm tired, so I do apologize. I will have more information for you in my next vlog. I'll have this more cleared up, I promise. But anyway, I'm pretty sure it's a judge. He has been threatened, and this, whoever threatened him or whatever happened to him is going to be going to court, but now he's getting more threats from, because he's going to testify or what have you. And so there's a U.S. Marshal, his name is Tom, and he is patrolling the area looking for people who shouldn't be there or if weird things are going on. So he kind of goes to the cabins to introduce himself to Isabel, our main character, of course, and Jill, who's the other woman who has the other cabin. And Isabel immediately is wondering what's going on. Like, why is he here? He must be here after her. Well, then you start to find out that she's harboring secrets of her own, that she's actually sort of kind of in hiding. I don't know, even at this point yet, I still don't know exactly what it is. You've been alluded to a few things of what's going on, but she thinks that he is kind of after her. So, yeah, and I guess it's going to be obviously their relationship, but so far I'm really enjoying it. I really like the characters. This is not my first book by Victoria Dahl. I like her a lot. I've read her before, and she's really fun. So, like I said, this one, I think it's going to go hot and spicy. I know it is because, like I said, I've read her before, but there is a bit of swearing in this one too. I've noticed actually quite a bit of swearing in this one. My only complaint, and I try not to dwell on this when I'm talking about audiobooks, because, well, the narration can make or break an audiobook. To me, it doesn't make or break a book. I don't judge a book itself on the audio narration. I feel the publisher did not pick the best narrator for this. This is a good narrator. I like her. I listened to her last month. It's Celeste Kalou, I believe is how you pronounce her name. And she narrated a Cold Creek Christmas Story, which I read back in December. And she was perfect for that. But in this one, her voice just doesn't suit. I don't know what it is about it, but it doesn't suit the main character. The main character, Isabel, I want to call her Victoria, but that's the author's name. The main character she doesn't sound the way I think she should. Does that make sense? I know that sounds weird. But other than that, she's not bad. It's just I don't think they picked the best narrator. That's all. I don't dislike this narrator. I like this narrator's work. This wasn't the best choice for her, in other words. So, I mean, that's neither here nor there. Again, I will not judge the book based on that, on my opinion of that. So, my current ebook is The Best of Us by Robin Carr. This is the 4th book in the Sullivan's Crossing series. I've read book 1. This is a NetGalley read, so thank you very much to NetGalley, the publisher, for sending it to me to review. And this is about Lee, who is our main character, and you meet her in the first book. She is best friends with I can't remember the character's name from the first book. They worked at the same hospital together in Chicago. So she needed a change of pace, so she decided to move to this small town, and I can't remember, I think it's in Colorado. And she starts working for the little local practice. The original doctor is retired, so she's kind of come in to be the new doctor in town. It's a small town. And her aunt, who still lives in Chicago, but her aunt travels all over the world. She's a mystery writer, so she has all these friends, and they all travel together and do all these wonderful things, that you can do when you either A, work for yourself and make enough money, or you're retired or whatever. And so she convinces her aunt to come and stay with her for the summer in Sullivan's Crossing, and the aunt does. So it's the story of each of them kind of finding their way in the world. This is going to have a romance. I think it actually might have a couple romances in it. But the main plot of the story is not the romance. The main plot of the story is the niece and the aunt kind of, discovering themselves and finding out more about themselves and each other and family and friendships and things like that. So, I mean, Robin Carr is such a great author, and I really enjoyed the first book in the Sullivan's Crossing series, so I know I'm going to like this one too. I'm only about 20% of the way into it. I want to read a little bit more before I go to bed tonight, and so that's my goal. So I am reading a NetGalley book. I'll talk about that in my next vlog. It's called, I'm going to put the picture of it up here. It's called Abigail's Adventure. I'm only about 5% of the way through it. Kim, from the Romance Queen of BookTube, her and I and a group of other ladies are reading through this series. It's the Alphabet Mail Order Bride series. I know, sounds totally cute, doesn't it? When Kim posted the picture on Facebook, I kind of went, oh my gosh, I really love the cover of that story. And then I realized that they were all available on Kindle Unlimited. And there's 25 books in the series, so a book per girl. And we're going to read through them over the course of the next year, of like the rest of this year. So I thought that'd be a lot of fun. Now, because I am reading a lot of other things, these are relatively short books. They're only about 150 pages long. My childhood books are actually going to go on the back burner, and I'm going to read these first. So I may or may not get to some of those Babysitters Club, Sweet Valley, Nancy Drew books till later this year. But yeah, so anyway, so that's kind of my goal with these ones. I decided just to kind of take a break from the childhood books for right now, and I want to kind of read these because I am paying for the Kindle Unlimited package, so I thought might as well get some of my money's worth for it, right? But it's I believe these are clean romances. Again, I'll have more information about this one in my next vlog. So yeah. So anyway, the only other book, of course, is Witchwood by Mary Wilberly. This is for my 40 years of Harlequin. I wish I was still just 24. I would do so many things differently. Actually, you know what? You know, you get those questions, what would you do if you could go back? The only thing I would do different, the only thing would be to save a lot more money. I think I made pretty decent money when I first started working and I was still living at home. I would have saved a bunch of it and bought a house. Like, legit. That's probably the only change I would have made. Yeah. Anyway, past Sarah, we can't go back and change the past, can we? So, my 40 Years of Harlequin project. If you are not sure what this is, I will post a link in the description box below. I talked about this at the beginning of this video, I'm sure, at some point. 40 Harlequin books over the next, or actually 52 Harlequin books over the next year. This is the first one, the one for 1979. I'm 108 pages into this. I'm due to finish this by Monday. So I have the little tabbies in it, a little bit, so much per day. Still not loving this. I've talked about this book already in this vlog, so I'm not going to get into it anymore. I still don't like him. I think he's a jerk face. And, you know, I do actually like our main character, Beth. She is standing up to him, and I do appreciate that. But he just kind of really, literally and figuratively pushes her around. You know, so again, the whole reason why I'm doing this project is because I am interested in seeing how romance novels have evolved over the years. So yeah, so I'm still reading that one. And speaking of the 40 Years of Harlequin project, two little things before I let you guys go. The first one, for my January anticipated reads for the Harlequin books, the winning book was, and I've already bought it, I'm going to wrap it and put it in the bag, so we will not see this one again until the fall. This is The Uncompromising Lord Flint by Virginia Heath. I think this is book 2 in the King's Elite series. So this is the one that was chosen. So if you guys are going to be reading along with me at the end of the year, towards the end of the year, the last 12 weeks of the year, of the 12 books chosen this year, this is the first one. So there we go. And yeah, so I will put that in the bag over here. But because it's Friday night and I did this last Friday, I'm going to do it this Friday. So this is the book for 1980. So it's the next one. I do not remember what this one is. There are, like I said, there's a couple that I know are in here, but I have no idea where they are. So, I'm going to open this now, and this will be started. I'll read this one as soon as I'm done this one. So, let's open this one up. Ooh, it's a Harlequin Presents. You guys, or no, it's a Silhouette Romance. Oh my gosh, I looked at that wrong. Dixie Browning, An Unreasonable Summer. It's the 12th book in the Harlequin, or the Silhouette Romance series. So at this point, Silhouette was not owned by Harlequin. Now, so I'm taking liberties with some of these, and I will be honest about that. You know, it was a different company. I believe these guys were owned by Zebra Romance, if I'm not mistaken. Published by Silhouette Books. Well, maybe they were on their own. Simon and Schuster, Division of Gulf and Western Corporation. Copyright 1980 by Dixie Browning. Pocketbooks. So they were not owned by the same company. At one point, Silhouette and Harlequin did merge and were owned by the same parent company. I believe that was maybe under even Harlequin. And then they disbanded Silhouette completely. So the Silhouette line is gone now, because it used to be Silhouette Desire. Originally, when the Desire novels first came out, they were under the Silhouette banner. But now they're under Harlequin. Same with the special editions. The Romantic Suspense, which used to be the Intimate Moments, were under Silhouette. So yeah, so this one should be good. So I will quickly read the back of it for you. Emily Fairchild had dreamed of a vacation like this, a whole summer spent in a romantic cottage on the water where she could be free to paint and cook and sing and live as joyously as her passionate nature demanded. Doesn't that sound lovely? But into this paradise on the beach came B.K. George, famous art critic and painter, a man of cold logic and sophisticated tastes. Now for Emily began a war of wills, a struggle to see if she could melt the wall of ice around his heart to release the love and fiery passion that smoldered in the depths of his gray eyes. Ooh, sounds scandalous. The painter and the art critic. Sounds like fun. So yeah, Unreasonable Summer. So that is going to be the next one for 1980. So I will get into that one in my next vlog, of course. Anyway, guys, that is it for this vlog. I do hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to head off to bed and do some reading. And I will see you guys all in my next video. Until then, take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.